Welcome to Conversations in Leadership, a conversation with Gospel Today in the Potter's House. I'm here today with Pastor Sheryl Brady. Pastor Sheryl, how are you?
I'm great. How are you today?
Doing wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Pastor Brady, throughout your 25-plus years of ministry, you prioritize giving back to the local community through food banks and clothing drives and other outreaches. Many leaders in churches want to give back in their community, and they just don't know how or where to start. What outreaches is the Potter's House currently involved in where you serve? As well, why is it important for every church to be involved in some form of local outreach?
Well, I think it's very vital because of the very fact that the Bible says that God doesn't say that God so loved the church, even though we know He loves the church. It says that God so loved the world. And I believe that because that's His passion, that needs to be our passion. And also on top of that, I just believe that if God has blessed you and if He's given to you, there ought to be something in you that longs to give back. And so, fortunately for us here, the Potter's House North is really just an extension of the Potter's House. And so we really connect and we come up under the umbrella of Megacare. And so even though we do things locally in North Dallas, which for instance we are a part of the North Texas Food Bank, what we do is we concerted our efforts with them, and we give out backpacks to the children, because we discovered that a lot of the children in our community, they live to eat at school because they don't necessarily have it at home. And so we supply them with backpacks, which is filled with food, so that over the weekend they can have something to eat. And so we are a part of that. And also we do a blood bank. We're part of the Red Cross. We join with them. We do that periodically. And just wherever Megacare is, our church is represented as well. They're in not just in America, but they're in Somalia. They're in so many places. They're in Kenya. You name it. Wherever there's a need, there's Megacare. And our church is only 2 years old. So for those pastors who say, I want to be involved in outreach, but I don't know exactly where to start. Sometimes you have to start your outreach by starting with an inreach. And you find the needs that you have in your local assembly. There's elderly people, there's widows, there's single mothers, there are caregivers, people that take care of people with Alzheimer's. Sometimes they just need a break. Caregivers in general need a break. And so you can start right there. Ultimately, then you reach out. You secure home, and then you reach out and you touch the community, because that's what it's all about. Jesus was moved by the feelings of our infirmities, and I believe that's what we have to be as well, where our communities are represented.
Yeah. How does a church or a leader gauge success when they do an outreach effort?
Well, I think if you have met the needs of somebody, you are to some degree successful. I believe you have to set goals, because obviously we can't do everything. But I believe that you have to set goals, and I'm whether it's outreach, whether it's inreach, whether it's just on a personal level, I am always have been big on setting small goals and having small celebrations. And then once you reach that, then you take it up higher, and you take it up higher every time, because that gives you momentum. So I believe if we're giving them Jesus, with that peanut butter and jelly sandwich, if we're giving them Jesus, like giving them a break, that's successful all by itself.
Yeah. Now, I would like to know, when you do an outreach effort, do you try to be intentional about wrapping the gospel into it, or do you sometimes just do the outreach effort, give the people the physical need without tying in the spiritual elements?
Well, I think we're obligated to tie in the spiritual aspect, because that's what we are. We are spreading the good news of the gospel, go into all the world and spread the good news of the gospel. However, sometimes people don't want to hear about the gospel per se. They don't want you to open up the Bible and teach them about Exodus or Leviticus or Numbers if they're hungry or if they're hurting. And so I think it's very important that we come from the angle of getting them out of the distressful moment and out of the crisis mode. And once we do that, then we're able to go in and say, listen, let me tell you how we're able to do this. It's because of Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Great. Well, leaders, we look forward to seeing you at the Pastors and Leaders Conference, May 3rd through the 5th in Orlando, Florida. Thank you for being with us today, Pastor Cheryl.
God bless you. Look forward to seeing all of you there.